All right, Burns.
Yep.
This is Assassin's Creed.
It is. But which one?
I know, not the actual Assassin's Creed 5, but an alternate Assassin's Creed 5, which the people who haven't yet upgraded to next gen will be getting or subjected to, whichever term you want to use. It's basically a redux of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
So it's 4-2, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. The Assassin's Creed franchise has gotten so confusing. I've talked about this in the preview. And it's very much bogged down in the previous game's baggage of plot and stuff. And this game is very much a celebration of that. It doesn't attempt to cater for people who are new to the series in a way that we're told Assassin's Creed Unity will, by shifting a lot of that baggage and getting rid of it. So, I think the main point about Rogue that's on most people's minds, people who are actually aware of it because they haven't really pushed it a lot. No,
not really.
Is why does it exist? What's it there for? So,
well, I don't actually know too much about it.
Yeah.
Really, because a lot of the focus has been on Unity and stuff, and it's just kind of my review at the moment, that pretty much the entire generation,
Yeah.
And so, but from what I've seen of you playing it and what you talking about it, it seems like pretty much everyone who loved Assassin's Creed 4 would be very interested in it.
Yeah.
And it just it is definitely, I think, in the shadow of Unity.
Yeah.
But do you think that Ubisoft would be pushing it harder for look, you loved Assassin's Creed 4? This is kind of more of the same. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, as you said, it seems a bit like you love this. So as almost like a bonus before you hop on to next gen, here's some more.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird, I wouldn't say U-turn, but sort of almost like a change in policy from Ubisoft, because Black Flag, I always got the impression, pretty much exists because people really like the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 3. And Black Flag was very much a reaction to that. It was them going, well, people like... I mean, Assassin's Creed 3 was shit, frankly. I mean, I'm a massive fan of the series and I can't defend that game at all. But those bits were great.
Yeah.
And they've noticed that. They've obviously gotten feedback from the community, from playtests and stuff like that, and decided, well, people like that bit. Let's take that bit and make it into a fucking 40-hour game.
Yeah.
And it works because Black Flag is a fantastic game. I remember a lot of people at the time playing it who weren't into Assassin's Creed and saying, you know what, I wish this was just a pirate game and not about assassins versus Templars and all this other shite that I don't care about.
Yeah.
I disagree with them because I do care about that stuff, because if I counted the hours I've sunk into playing Assassin's Creed games, I can't not care about it, because if I don't, I've wasted a considerable amount of my time on Earth. But yeah, the interesting thing about Rogue to me is that it's very much a continuation of everything that was in Black Flag is presented here, apart from the actual setting, because it's North Atlantic instead of the Caribbean, things like that. But there's characters from Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag, which is set, like Black Flag is 20 years before, AC3 is 20 years later, I believe. And so it's very much bridging a gap between those two games. We're talking about a franchise in which the fourth game is a prequel to the third game. But only when you're not playing the modern day bit, because the modern day bit is a sequel to the modern day bit of the third game.
Like when Resident Evil 3 was half of it was a prequel to Resident Evil 2, and then the second half was a sequel.
Yeah, which is mental. And the guy you play in Assassin's Creed 4 is the grandfather of the guy you play in Assassin's Creed 3. The guy in between, Haytham, the father of Connor in Assassin's Creed 4, is like one of your mates in Rogue. It's all very confusing. And even as somebody who's right into this, I'm looking at it thinking, this is so much much baggage.
It's grown unwieldy, and that's mainly due to its own success that people want.
Yeah,
people want
absolutely.
more lore, don't they? I've always thought that the kind of modern day stuff, like I would have preferred it if it wasn't Animus based. Like you obviously can have historical tales without having to be plugged into a big dream machine.
Yeah.
And of course that, it is problematic when you think about, as someone pointed out, so if your ancestors, if they're their memories, then you're essentially getting plugged in, especially with Ezio, to like your great-great-granddad shagging your great-great-grandmother or something, which is pretty horrific and probably turned me off the entire series. But, I always thought that I like the overall, the plot with the Templars and stuff.
Yeah.
But I never feel like they kind of nailed the modern day stuff. So, have you seen any of that in this?
No. There was none of that in the preview that I saw, which is interesting. It's like they always seem to keep that side of it close to their chest, though, until release. Because, I don't think anyone really knew, I might be misremembering completely, but I don't think anyone really knew that Black Flag had sort of had a modern day mode where you were essentially a game dev walking around what is a sort of pastiche of Ubisoft's actual offices.
I thought that was insane bollocks. I must say,
it's just an incredible sort of meta. It's like Ubisoft's head sort of being rammed up its own arse.
That's the moment when they went, nah, just fuck it, just go full.
So that's very interesting because we haven't seen anything of the modern day period, the modern day stuff that occurs in Unity or Rogue, to my knowledge. So it's going to be interesting where they take that. They have hinted that events in Rogue will be directly related to events in Unity. And Unity, of course, occurs decades later. Wondering if I think it would be quite cool if they had like a parallel thing going on where the modern day stuff in Rogue is happening at the same time as the modern day stuff in Unity.
It could be.
Stuff like that. That would be really interesting, which is probably why they won't do it. But I'm just talking about Rogue specifically as a game. It's maybe not fair to it to talk about it in terms of how it relates to Unity. Well, it is, but just to give it the benefit of the doubt, it's very much, pretty much the last kind of hurrah of the last gen Assassin's Creed stuff. And it's got stuff in it, like interesting inversions of things that happen in previous Assassin's Creed games. Like, because you're now a Templar, you're fighting against assassins. The assassins that you're up against do all the same things that you did as an assassin. So they hide in bushes, or they stalk the rooftops waiting for a moment to pounce on you. And there's been plenty of times during the preview where I was caught out completely.
Really?
Shanked with a hidden blade, and it takes a lot of damage off you. Like if unless you're on full health, it kills you. So there's I found that quite interesting, that it wasn't just sort of flipping the story, it was also kind of flipping the mechanics a little bit. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on in Rogue if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, but I think it's only interesting if you're an Assassin's Creed fan. It's very unapologetic about that.
Yeah, I gave Black Flag a 7. Mainly because even though I really liked it, I liked the naval stuff. I liked the setting. I quite liked the characters. But at the end of the day, I was still pulling people into hay bales, and what the game really hates is out of order execution. So the game has to lead you by the nose. So if you're doing a tail mission and you actually know where the guy's going, you can't just go and wait for him. Otherwise, you just fail. And there's too many obvious fail states. And the last gen Assassin's Creed games, for all of their at times brilliance, weren't actually games about being assassins at all. It was just Simon Says you're an assassin. You couldn't ever use your own ingenuity really to kill people, and most of the time you just run in, draw a sword, and fuck people up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's been probably one of the biggest points of contention with the series, is that it isn't really an assassin simulator at all. It's it's a stabby man.
I suppose that's that would be fine
Yeah.
if the game didn't have all the trappings of you, like, you have to be quiet,
Yeah.
to kill, like, you know, if you wanted to just go, you know, that's the thing that the Hitman games do, is that you can kill them any way you want, doesn't matter. And those games, especially the last generation ones, are about kind of getting the drop on people and using your own ingenuity. But that doesn't seem to be the case with the last gen Assassin's Creed games. But I always thought that the main thing about Assassin's Creed games is they've got to have a really good setting. Assassin's Creed 3 is abysmal. It's an abysmal game.
Yeah.
And and I don't know how anyone thought that, like, 55 billion hours of running across treetops and then going into the not very architecturally diverse Boston at the time was going to be a good idea after Rome and Florence and Constantinople. So how does it stand up in
decision? It really was.
Because we're back, aren't we, into kind of New York sort of thing?
We are, yeah.
So how's it?
So we've got the New York of Assassin's Creed 3, but it is different. It has been redesigned to make it quicker to traverse and stuff like that. Then you've got, so that's the only big city, and then you've got 2 areas of naval stuff. One's just called the North Atlantic, which is all ice sheets and small settlements and forts and stuff like that. And then you've got the another one that I can't remember the name of right now. We should probably look that up first, which is more akin to the Caribbean of AC4, just obviously in a more North American looking setting. And that's got like towns like Albany and stuff like that, and it's more rivery rather than sea based as well.
Okay.
So it's again, it is making sort of tweaks to what was in AC4, but there is no, not from what I've seen anyway, there is no iconic setting, because an ocean isn't iconic. An ocean is just water, right? New York of the 1700s isn't iconic because, I mean, did you notice any difference whatsoever between Boston in AC3 and New York in AC3? Because I didn't. I couldn't tell you to this day what the.
No, I mean, I wasn't reviewing it or anything. I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, maybe at preview. Like, you run around the towns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when I got it at retail, I just quit when the game spoiled its own twist for me. So I just went, nah, that's probably the end of that. And because, you know, when it was my own free time, I was like, nah, this can get fucked, mate, to be honest.
I completed it, and when I got to the end of that game, I wondered why. Because I mean, I enjoyed the kind of the ending of the whole Desmond arc and stuff. I mean, which had a bit of, you know, a bit of a love-hate relationship
with Gary Neville arc.
Yeah. And Assassin's Creed 4 felt like a real push in the right direction for me.
Absolutely.
So it's a weird time for the franchise. You got 2 full fat, and yet that's the other thing about Rogue as well. It's not like
a Vita version.
No, it's not like a small one that they're just doing for the old car. This is like, it's a huge game. I mean, even the couple of chapters we've been given to play are enormous, full of side stuff, expanded even from what was in AC4, which was like millions of things on the map to do. And it's really like a full fat Assassin's Creed game, which I think is just even more absurd in a way that we're getting 2 of those on the same day, I think, practically, or within days of each other at least.
It is odd, but it sounds like, I mean, Rogue sounds interesting from everything I've heard about it, but it just, I suppose that the way Ubisoft's marketing it just doesn't seem interesting. You know, it doesn't really seem, but there seems to be this creeping kind of thought among, you know, us and a few other people in forums that it might actually be better than
Unity.
But who cares? Because let's face it, where's my World War II Assassin's Creed? You know, come on now. Although I'd
love to see it jump in, just put its toe into the 20th century, just a little.
I'm not sure. The thing is with World War II though,
a
bit of a tangent, but I'm not sure it can. There are too many moral problems with the Second World War, mainly most of it.
Yeah.
Where to run around as a guy in a hood might seem really fucking flippant, you know. And at one point you would have to. I mean, it's established in the series lore that Hitler is killed outside the bunker by an assassin. Like, fuck.
Is that established in the lore?
Yeah, it's in Assassin's Creed 2, one of the glyphs. I love those in 2.
Oh, they're really brilliant. Yeah.
You see that
I don't remember that. I would have laughed my ass off at
Yeah,
that.
it's a bit like, all right.
Because I was going to say, if there ever was an Assassin's Creed World War II video game, there would be a mission where you go and kill Hitler, who is a Templar, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not sure they could do that. It would
No.
be so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Well, I mean, there is a World War II Assassin's Creed game. It's called The Saboteur, but... You know.
What I love about the Assassin's Creed lore is they seem to want to establish that anyone in history who has ever died was killed by an assassin. Trotsky, Lenin,
All of them.
all those guys.
Anyone who was famous... You know, essentially the Templars are just like Scientologists of their day. That seems to be the theme of the entire series.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to just seeing what Rogue's got. You know, I'm a bit played out on Assassin's Creed as a whole. And doesn't mean I'm not looking forward to, you know, having a little go on Unity. But I just can't, you know, I can't really see how they can get away with the game succeeding despite itself for much longer.
Yeah.
So, you know...
I mean, Unity's an attempt to really essentially fix that problem, isn't it? So, I mean, it could well be successful, but I mean, the impression I got from playing a short slice of it was that they've, I mean, as I said to you, it looks like they've spent 4 years remaking a game and accidentally made the same thing again. So we'll have to see how it works out.
Are they like the teenagers in any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies who don't realise that they're dreaming and like running around trying to get out or go somewhere, and then they realise they're exactly back where they started. They're like, oh no, we've done it again.
Oh shit,
we're back. But yeah, interesting. I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's exciting times, but cautiously. If you're a big fan of the series, and if you're not, then there's 2 games coming out that you don't give a shit about. So
there you go. So don't worry about it. Right.
We can cut it there. Cool, man. Thanks very much.
Michael, are you going to tell the boys and girls to subscribe?
I was working up to the impatient little gat.